2 years, Donald Trump Jr. has lived at the very heart of the Russia story, which we now know was a conspiracy theory. For attending a meeting with a Russian lawyer nobody's ever heard of, he has been accused of betraying his country. Many suggested he would die in prison. We now know that none of that was real. They were lying, or they were being hysterical. Either way, it was not true. It looks like he's not going to prison. Donald Trump Jr. instead joins us tonight. Donald Trump, thanks very much for coming on. So I can't recall the number of times I heard people predict that you would be indicted. You have not been indicted. You're not going to be indicted.
I have not, but it's thousands, if not much more than that, Tucker.
So what's the experience like? What's it like to be you right now?
Listen, it feels great. I mean, because I was a big part of all of this going on. I'm the one that took the daily incoming, the nonsense. Now, at the same time, I'm also the person that was actually there, that was actually in the room. So I understand everything that went into it. I realized we didn't do anything wrong. Certainly, when you look at what the other side was doing, you realize that it was them, in fact, colluding, not us. We were doing a campaign. We were functioning like any campaign would, and that's what we did. So it was difficult to watch. It was difficult to watch what they're trying to and have been trying to do to my father for 2 years. And it's really the Democrats with their media lackeys creating a narrative that they want to be true because they couldn't explain the outcome of the last election. My father won. He was able to speak to the American people. He's been able to move the needle for them in a way that Barack Obama couldn't come close to doing. But by the way, it's not just a partisan issue. Bush couldn't have done it either. My father's done incredible things. He's done things for working class Americans. You have all-time low African American unemployment, all-time low Hispanic unemployment, all-time low female unemployment. And he's doing that with this bubble around him for 2 years. Think of what he could do without that noise.
So what I never understood is why not, if you don't agree with the policies of the administration or the campaign before it on trade or immigration, pick a topic, why not debate them? The Russia stories seem to subsume all of that. No one was talking about the details of any policy. Some policies weren't even being affected as a result of it, weren't getting done. Why not have like a conventional political debate?
Because the Democrats can't win with their ideas. With the issues and the things that they want to push, they don't work. They tried that under Obama. They're trying that with the Green New Deal. The only problem is we don't exactly have $93 trillion to spend to say you're going to take a bus to Hawaii. That doesn't work. Their ideas do not work, and they recognize that. So the way to try to combat that is to demonize a guy who's getting it done with ideas that they can't stand. And that's what my father's been doing, Tucker. He's been doing it day in and day out.
The Russia story wasn't simply about your father. It was about the people around him, very much including you. I mean, you were a major figure in this narrative, as they say.
Yeah, because I was the needle in the haystack, Tucker. We handed over our emails. I did 27-something hours of testimony in front of congressional committees. And you know what happens? You go in the meeting at the end of 7-hour testimony. Guys, do you have any more questions? Ask them. Go look at the records. Do you have any more questions? No, we have none. Guys like Da Nang, Dick Blumenthal go outside on the steps of Congress 30 seconds later, hold a press conference saying, there are many questions that were not answered. It's nonsense, Tucker. It's all a game. And you got the leader of the tinfoil hat brigade, Adam Schiff, out there every day talking about the evidence of collusion that he's seen. He's flagrantly lying to the American people. He's doing it every day on national television. He's gotten more airtime, amazingly enough, than Michael Avenatti, but they're about of the same level of credibility, and there's no accountability for that, Tucker, because when you're on that side and you have the media carrying your water for you, you can say whatever you want. When you're on our side, even when you're right, even when you're proven so, there's a level of culpability. There are repercussions for being a conservative that you don't face if you're on the other side.
So what have those repercussions been like for you? I mean, how is that, since there are millions of people who believe that you are a Russian agent or abetting other Russian agents, the most serious charge you could level against anybody betraying your country, how has that affected, I mean, what's it like when you go to the grocery store?
Well, listen, in New York City, it's a little bit different than the rest of the country, obviously. You know, the reality is this. I'm a patriot true and true. I love this country. I love everything that it stands for. And the difference between me, amazingly enough, as the son of a billionaire from New York City, is that unlike the Democrats, I actually spend a lot of time in Middle America, whether it be my hobbies in the outdoors or shooting and fishing. I know those people. Guess how many of them have even asked about Russia? Zero, because they know that it's nonsense. And this is the media's classic move. They take the narrative that they understand in their little New York and D.C. bubbles, and they try to sell that to the rest of the country. But the rest of the country gets it. You know what they see? They see manufacturing jobs coming back to this country. They see their wages rising for the first time in decades. They see the stock market and their 401ks at all-time highs. They see all-time low unemployment. What is the Democrat platform is do the opposite of anything that Donald Trump has done. If Donald Trump came out today in favor of oxygen, the left would be against it. Do they really want to reverse the successes that we have seen? Do they really want to reverse all-time low unemployment numbers for all the minorities listed?
Well, so can that conversation, I mean, can we begin the conversation about policy now? And what happens since, I mean, presumably at some point they're going to acknowledge reality, which is Mueller cleared the administration of collusion charges. So
well, I
what
doubt
happens
they do
now?
That. I doubt they ever do that because it's not their style. And again, there's no accountability on their side. That said, there's two things that have to happen. I think we have to look into how this all started. Okay, this didn't start with some FBI agent, a door kicker. This started with the lawyer bureaucrats at the top of the FBI working with Hillary Clinton, Fusion GPS, Christopher Steele, Peter Strzok. Those people need to be looked into. This was the greatest farce ever perpetrated on our democracy. It's a disgrace, and it's a stain on our Constitution. We have to fix that. Then, what I'd like us all to get together. Let's start working. How about we pass some bills for infrastructure? Why don't the Democrats get together with the Republicans and my father and actually start doing and continuing the amazing things that my father has been doing for the American people? That's what I'd like to see. Yeah. I'd like to see that kind of unity. I'd like to see the Democrats focusing on what's good for the American people, not just screaming on TV, trying to perpetuate a hoax and a myth that they themselves have created. Because the media and the Democrats have no credibility right now. The Adam Schiffs of the world have no credibility right now. And it's going to take years for them to gain that back if they don't try to actually do something to effectuate change and to get things moving for the American people. Again, my father did amazing things with all of this stuff going on, with this cloud over his head. Imagine what he could do if you let him do his thing. They may want to sit this one out. Maybe jump on the Trump train. Let's get this thing going, and let's keep the winning, because we can do it. Look at what's going on.
Maybe they'll wake up and realize it. We'll see. Don Trump Jr., thanks very much for that.
Thank you, Tucker.
Well, even though the Mueller investigation is now over and the president has been cleared, Democrats say they won't rest until they see the report for themselves in its entirety, and they want to question Attorney General Bill Maher, while Republicans say they want the heads to roll for bringing this investigation in the first place.
The Attorney General's comments make it clear that Congress must step in to get the truth and provide full transparency to the American people. We will ask the Attorney General to testify before the House Judiciary Committee. We will demand the release of the full report.
Then you have Adam Schiff. Talk about an oxymoron. This man heads the Intelligence Committee in the House. He said, quote, he believed that the scandal was of a size and a scope probably bigger than Watergate and that there's plenty of evidence of collusion. He ought to resign today.
So should we be prepared for maybe 2 more years of partisan accusations and investigations? Let's bring in Fox News contributor Deneen Borelli and Democratic strategist Kristen Hahn. Deneen, let me start with you. What do you make of it? There's a sliver of hope perhaps for Democrats on obstruction, although it feels pretty clear that Attorney General Barr closed that door. Nevertheless, it seems like it's going to go on.
Well, Mueller ended the investigation, but the Democrats are just starting. Don't forget, they're also investigating 81 people or entities that are remotely associated with President Trump. This was never about getting to the facts. This was about getting to President Trump, to not get him elected, to get him out of the White House. And the Democrats are just going to continue to play these games. And I really think Americans are just tired of it.
Kristen, the numbers are 19 lawyers, 40 FBI agents, 2,800 subpoenas, 500 search warrants, 233 orders of communication records, 500 witness interviews, $30 million. You've got a few arrests and convictions, but no collusion. And according to A.G. Barr, also no obstruction. Would the Democrats be smart just to walk away from this?
I mean, I think the American people, they want to see the full report. The president even stated his support for that. And I would just say, to say that Robert Mueller was not about getting to the facts is just false. Now, I do think, you know, the Democrats on Capitol Hill have a responsibility to subpoena folks and get to the bottom of this and help the American people see what the report
so let me ask you on that, Kristen.
But they could go too far,
yeah,
and it could backfire.
I mean, there was a report, a poll in USA Today, not necessarily a right-wing publication, where 50% of the folks felt that this whole Mueller investigation had become a witch hunt. They used Donald Trump's word, a witch hunt. So if Nadler goes through with these 81 requests and turns them into subpoenas, aren't you worried that you're going to tilt sympathy completely and for President Trump?
Yes, of course. I mean, when we were out on the campaign trail in the midterms, I said this before, you know, it was not very often that our candidates, and we got questions about Russia or Mueller. It doesn't mean that it's not important. And what we do know is that Russia did meddle in our elections, and we need to make sure we do everything as a country, both sides of the aisle, to make sure that never happens again. But yeah, I mean, I would much rather personally have the American people vote President Trump out of office rather than have a purely, you know, partisan effort to impeach him.
Deneen, you know, on that note, everyone agrees that Russia has tried to influence our elections, and to what degree of success you can argue forever. Should that be what the administration is focusing now, at least saying, articulating, hey, we did X, Y, and Z so that we're better ready when 2020 comes around?
Well, sure, have the focus there that it was Russia that they should have been investigating. But the bottom line is the Democrats do not care.
Do you want to see an investigation
then
of the source of this investigation?
Yeah, yes, let's roll back the tape. What about Hillary Clinton, Loretta Lynch, James Comey, Clapper, all of the characters that were involved in this early on? Where are the investigations for that? They should put as much energy and effort into what they did to Trump.
So you want a couple more years? I mean, are you concerned
I don't want it, but you know what?
About this investigation fatigue that seems to be settling in this country?
My concern is accountability. No one is going to be held accountable unless they take the next step. Yes, there is investigation fatigue, but where's the accountability with the people who were responsible for this early on?
Kristen, would you be okay with that if they said, hey, you know what, let's roll this back because there's more and more evidence that it all began over faulty, some faulty research?
Look, I'm okay with getting down to the bottom of Russia's influence in our elections, no matter what side of the aisle or who it is. So, you know, I mean, we can't continue to allow this to go on, and we need to stop making this a partisan issue.
All right, Deneen, Kristen, thank you both very much.
Thanks,
ladies.
Charles.